Zach Peay, Jamar Perkins. It's crunch time. It's crunch time here live at the studios of Austin Peay. Zach Peay joined by Reese Britt and Jamar Perkins. Guys, how are you guys doing, and how was your weekend?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Sad that there was no college football, NFL football, or anything. But
Yeah, the Pro Bowl.
we had
We'll
half
talk about
of
that.
a football game. Yeah,
Right.
but it was all good, man. Just watched some college football and hung out, and excited for another show.
All right. Jamar, how about your weekend, man?
It was pretty mid, you know.
Pretty mid-grade?
It was no school. I mean, and I still worked, but
We got
like
to
I
it.
said, we watched half a football game. It was
Well, yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that Pro Bowl.
1/4 of a football game.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun. My weekend was great. To answer any questions about that, I didn't really do much. I relaxed. I watched the Pro Bowl, what it was. Like I said, I'm ready for that one. But we're gonna jump in before we get to that. We're gonna jump straight into college baseball preseason. Starts, I think, this week, right?
Yeah, close to. There's only about 10 days till opening pitch.
All right, not that bad.
But I've got some preseason statistics for you guys. Number one, Texas. They come in overall, man. I mean, Texas, they're starting to put it together in the athletic department. They were 50-17 last year. Number two, Arkansas, 50-13 last year. Vanderbilt, your boys over there, Zach, they've got it going again this year, 49-18. Mississippi State, 50-18. And Ole Miss rounds out the top five with 45-22. Interestingly enough, 4 SEC teams in the top 5.
Yeah,
That's big stuff.
That's big. I mean, Vanderbilt's always consistent.
Yeah.
As we were talking about before the show, I'm always a supporter of Vandy from my grandfather, so I kept that legacy alive. And I got to say that in baseball terms, they are a great team.
Yeah.
It's great to see the Razorbacks in the top 5 because they are a good team.
Yeah.
And the Longhorns have been always a consistent team when it comes to football and other athletics. But the last few years, they've kind of struggled a little bit. And I got a friend of mine who's a Longhorns fan that listens to this show, so I'm gonna say something really dirty, which is, yeah, you deserve to be number one. It won't happen for long.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
with you guys talking about the SEC. Question to you guys: because I'm not the biggest baseball guy. Would you say the best talent comes from the South when it comes to baseball?
Oh, by far.
I think now,
by far.
At least the last 5 years for sure, it's been that way. It's not been that way before that. I would say it was probably more California style, West Coast style, a little bit of East Coast, but you didn't see a lot from the East Coast. Yeah. Middle grade style, like Midwest stuff like that, you saw a lot of. But but definitely more recently, SEC has kind of been that pro baseball thing, and I think it's because so many people are moving out here.
Yeah, that's exactly. I want to note too before we move on is Tennessee comes in at 19. Last year they had a 50-18 record. They were a team that kind of came onto the scene with Tony Vitello and the Baseballs, as we like to call them back home in Knoxville. But a team that to watch out for this year is you guys really wouldn't pay attention to it too much, but Wright State up there, they are a good baseball. They hit the cover off the baseball.
Good talent.
Yeah. Really good,
talent.
really good.
And
Last year they were 30-13. They were 21-1 at home.
Weren't they top 10 in like home runs or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were coming out of nowhere in left field of doing all the home runs, if memory serves correctly. It was crazy to see how good they've got a talent, and they actually could do something this season.
They could.
Moving forward from that, because we got a lot of stuff to cover today, and then we've got NFL. Because I'm ready for that. College basketball, APSU men's and women's. We're going to talk about that. We're not talking about the top 25 today, only for the fact that not a lot's changed.
Yeah.
A couple of teams moved one spot in the top 5, but next week we got a lot of stuff happening for that, so we're going to prep for that. But Jamar, you've got Austin Peay for me.
Yeah, so it's a tale of two teams when you talk about Austin Peay men's and women's team. Starting off with the men, they're 7th in the OVC right now with a 3-8 conference record. They've been struggling. I think they've really when I watch them play, they have spurts where they have signs of, okay, this can be a good basketball team, and then they have signs where they just look terrible, like they look terrible against Morehead State this Saturday. It was tough. Pulling up the score right now, it was 52-77, and it was really a 30-piece because they ended up bringing the reserves, both teams. So really rough break for them. Turnaround, they play Monday against another tough team, Belmont. They lose that one 58-72. So it's a tough struggle right now for Austin Peay men's basketball. But coming up, they're going to play against SEMO and then this Thursday, and then Saturday they're going to take on Tennessee State. And those are 2 winnable games, I think, for Austin Peay. So it would really be a good turn of momentum if they can win those games.
Oh, for sure. And looking at the men's basketball team, Belmont, we always talk about how good Belmont is in the OVC. now that Austin Peay's leaving it, and that's probably the last time they'll face Belmont in the regular season. The men's might see them in the playoffs in the tournament. We're not sure about that, obviously, because you don't know where they're going to end up at.
Right.
But it has been a tale of two tales. And we talk about the women's team. They're currently, what was it again?
The women are 8-3. So the men 3-8, women 8-3.
Straight polar
So
opposites.
women are in third in the OVC right now. Women have been playing really good. I want to mention too, going back to the men really quick. Elijah Hutchins Everett won Freshman of the Week back-to-back times. He's been a really good post player. He's really been a light in Austin Peay's offense. But switching over to women's, Carly Pace, the Clarksville native, has another player of the week. She's been balling out. I mean, we see her on the court. She's
like 5 in a row, man.
She's been hooping. She's been hooping. She's been playing really well. And Austin Peay has been playing. Austin Peay has been playing really good as well. They have, of course, SEMO and Tennessee State coming up too. Tennessee State was a really tough game. Last time they played them, they did it at Nashville. 31 turnovers for Austin Peay, and they still won.
Yeah,
so they don't want to do that this time at home against Saturday. But I think two very winnable games for Austin Peay women's as well. But I think it's really been fun for both of them.
SEMO for basketball is going to be interesting to see because SEMO doesn't have a bad basketball team. They've got a good basketball team, men's and women's. They're average. They're middle of the grade field, and they come in and they're always ready to play. So that's going to be interesting to see the Thursday game for the Governors if they can come out for that. I always pressure about post play. It's always what we talk about for basketball. In women's basketball, you don't see a lot of it unless the 6'2" people show up. So I'm curious to see how post play will work with both sides of the ball for SEMO and for the Tennessee Tech game on Saturday.
SEMO has some size. I know we have a nice front court as far as we have Lyric Cole starting and Shy Booker coming off the bench. They've been playing really well together. Not together, but taking turns coming off. They've both given the offense nice spurts, and I think that's really what's helped Austin Peay on this good run they're having.
We witnessed Booker be able to unfold a couple of things when it came to stopping the taller players on the other side of the field, and that's been a player to watch for both of us when it came into the last few games, including the Murray game that we unfortunately were not able to make due to the lovely icy weather that was coming in. However, we live and we learn from that. I'm excited for Thursday and for Saturday's games. I think it's going to be a great game.
And I want to talk, too, speaking of Austin Peay basketball, there's an Austin Peay vet that has been balling out in the NBA. Terry Taylor, if you followed Austin Peay, you probably know who that is. But he's getting some NBA play time. He started off with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, the Pacers G League affiliate team, and he ended up getting called up. And he hasn't really been getting the time. I heard somebody say, which, I mean, it's truthful, and I think he deserves more, but he probably averaged the most high fives on the NBA as far as being on the bench. But no, I'm being serious now, but he deserved the time. And now that he's coming out here and Coach Rick Carlisle is getting him on the court, now he's performing. Now you're seeing him drop 24 points and 16 rebounds, 21 points and 14 rebounds. He's been doing really good. I mean, this is stuff that we as Austin Peay fans, we know that we knew that Terry Taylor could do this. Some people thought he was undersized, but he's probably the best 6'5" rebounder in the country. So looking at him, he's been playing really well. And we also saw Sabonis. We saw some trades happen. We saw Sabonis get traded to the Kings. Although they did bring in Tristan Thompson for the Pacers, we could still see Terry Taylor getting some more small ball big man minutes. So I look forward to seeing that happen.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of potential within that. And moving on, obviously, we'll use that as a transition to get to the NBA. The NBA right now, before we talk about the trade deadline that is this Thursday, we're going to talk about the standings. In the East, right now, Miami 35-20, Milwaukee second with 35-21. The Bulls doubles are 33-21 as well. And third right now, the Cavs 33-21. That surprises me. And then Philly at 32-22, and the Raptors just outside with the top six being 29-23. For the East standings, I kind of expect this. I don't expect Toronto to stay up there very much longer in the top six. You've got Brooklyn there that's just waiting to get back in there. And so I don't foresee that happening. I think the Sixers, if the trade happens with the rumor mill of Simmons and Harden, I think the Sixers get a good player out of that and stay there. And Brooklyn with Ben Simmons and KD, that's a good option if that happens.
I love doing this too because phones are always handy. I actually just got a Bleacher Report notification. It hasn't happened yet, but Brian Windhorst, very trusted NBA reporter, says James Harden wants a trade, and his actions over the last 10 days are basically a threat to the Nets. And we saw last night he didn't play because now they're really tight in these trade talks, so they didn't want to play him, I guess. But no, I could really see this happening. But both teams, Philly is so picky. I think what they want to do and what they don't want to do over the last couple of years when it comes to trades, like they are very picky. Daryl Morey.
No, you're right. I'll give you all the credit in the world. Philadelphia takes forever to try to do something and work something out. They knew that this was coming with Ben Simmons. They knew at the start of the year, actually the end of last season, they knew this was probably going to happen for Ben Simmons. The holdout, the just not wanting to play for him. So you just need to bite the bullet and go ahead and ship him out. because he doesn't want to play for you anymore.
No.
It's Deshaun Watson and the Texans.
Yeah.
That's how it is at this
Yeah.
point. You don't want to be at the team. You don't want to play, and they're playing well without him.
Yeah.
Just trade him. It doesn't matter anymore what you get for him. Just trade him.
The process for the Philadelphia has always been trust the process.
I
Yeah.
don't
The
trust
process,
it.
Process is
it's not
failing right
working,
now.
so you
No,
got to switch it up.
Your process is failing.
And I think Harden
Yeah.
Harden to the 76ers could work out. Ben Simmons to the Nets, I'm a little skeptical about.
Yep.
But we're going to see how that works.
He would work great with KD. He really would.
You think so?
Well, because KD likes to shoot and he
Yeah.
doesn't. So I mean, Simmons doesn't.
Ultimately.
Simmons proved in the playoffs he won't shoot the ball. So
I think Simmons,
mean-
though, he needs the basketball to do the things that he wants to do, obviously. Like, he's not an off-the-ball player.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to bring him up in a point guard position.
Yeah.
well, so,
You know.
and so think about this for a second. If they pull Harden away, who's been originally taking the ball off the court
Yeah.
more often than most other players on their team, and you put Simmons in that offense. Simmons becomes that point guard that
sure.
can run the offense. The problem is he's been out of the NBA for most of the year so far.
Yeah.
He has yet to touch the court. They say he's staying active and he's staying together and stuff like that. That's great,
Yeah.
but he's just not doing that great. Skipping over real quick to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
West Conference, Phoenix Suns 44-10, Golden State 41-13, Memphis Grizzlies are 38-18 right now. Hoop hoop. The Utah Jazz at 33-21 in fourth. Dallas Mavericks are 32-23. There you go, there, Kylan, for them. And then Denver Nuggets are 30-24 right now. Great job by the Mavericks and the Grizzlies to be up there. I think that's a good option for them. I don't think that's going to change very much. Golden State with 13 losses, that doesn't shock me. What shocks me is the Suns only losing 10 games.
Suns are playing great basketball. I saw they took on the Bucks
Yeah.
last night, I
Yeah.
believe, and they were down by a decent amount in the third quarter. I think it was like a 13 points at like with 2 minutes or something left in the third quarter.
Giannis on the other
And I was
side.
like, Suns are going to come back. I know they are.
Yeah.
And then once again, they came back in a close game. But no, Suns are playing really, really good basketball. Looking at it, too, I know we didn't really talk about it, but it just crossed my mind. All-Star game,
Yeah.
All-Star selections. John Morant, he's an All-Star. All-Star starter as well.
Finally.
Deserved it. And it's nice to see some of these people getting All-Star recognition. Obviously, some of these kind of guys, too, that, I think you should still appreciate the All-Star role, but I know certain times starters, they get injured or certain things happen, and then you have to pick up more All-Stars so you get more selections. But a lot of these people deserved it. LaMelo Ball,
Oh, yeah, I was
he
about to
first
talk about
wasn't
that, yeah.
he at first wasn't an All-Star, then he got called up due to the injury, and I like to see that
He
because
deserves the
he
call up.
deserved it.
He's playing so well right now for the Hornets right
Yeah.
now. You can't not give him an opportunity to be an all-star because he is literally their team. I mean, no offense to the Hornets,
Yeah.
but he's doing really well. I'm going to move real fast
Yeah,
into the
come
NHL
on.
standings because
Yeah.
we got a lot to cover when it comes to the NFL. So real quick, NHL standings, East, first place right now. I'm only going to give you the top three for conferences. The Florida Panthers are up right now 32-10 when it comes to overall record. Tampa Bay Lightning for 30-10. And then the Carolina Hurricanes are 31-10 right now for the East for the standings. For the West, you've got the Colorado Avalanche at 32-8. The Nashville Predators at 28-14. And the Minnesota Wild at 28-11. The one team I want to talk about is the Predators.
Yeah.
They have a new coach. It's a whole new coach. They only have maybe 3 or 4 players that actually stayed on the roster, if my memory serves correctly. They lost Pekka Rinne, so Saros comes in to be the primary goalie, and Saros is playing out of his mind. Juice is doing great, and he's doing good work. And so the Predators have an option to stun a bunch more teams and stay in this top 3 and even get a good spot for the NHL playoffs. So good job by them.
I'm saying the Predators. I know they're kind of they remind me of the Titans. Like you said, Tennessee Sports. One of those
Yes.
teams that they can look so good all year, and then when the playoffs come, stuff slips and happens. So I really hope the Predators can keep it out because we need a Tennessee championship.
They voluntarily choke every time in the first round. That's just how it goes, Not to throw that name in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I hate how you put the volunteer in there.
Hey,
but
hey, we're the volunteer
no offense
state,
taken.
So yeah,
No
it
offense
wasn't a shot
taken.
at your boys. I promise. It's just a little one. Moving on, NFL news. I want to do this before we jump into the Super Bowl. There is a lot that has happened within the NFL the last few weeks, and a lot of controversy. The first thing I want to talk about is the Deflategate controversy that just came through. So I always mispronounce this guy's last name, but it's Mike, I think Florio? Florio? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a book coming out called Playmakers. Within that book, it shows that the NFL's general counsel, Jeff Pash, had expunged numbers that would have proved that the Patriots did not do Deflategate. It's 2015. This is 2015. It's 2021 now.
Right.
Or 2022. See, yeah. Look, I can't even remember my years.
Yeah,
It's 2022
no, you
now, and it happened in 2015. The Patriots suspended Brady for 4 games. That's what happened from the Deflategate. You lost $1 million in revenue, and you lost 2 picks. You lost a first round and a second round pick because of it. Now it's coming out that you shouldn't have lost that stuff. My wonder is if the NFL did this to try to bring down the talent of the New England Patriots. They were so consistent at that time, and they were doing so well that maybe this was just a shot to try to pull them down a little bit and make them a little bit more average like the rest of the league was at the time.
I think, too, is, another way that you have to look at this is the media. The media played a huge part in, and, if Roger Goodell's sitting over there and he's thinking to himself, like, gosh, if I say that they didn't do this or there's evidence that they didn't do this, how's the media going to react? How's the fans going to react? Because the fans, the casual fan already doesn't like Tom Brady and already doesn't like the Patriots and what they're building over there.
Right.
So, if you're Roger Goodell, you got to think, how am I going to keep these people invested into the sport and also, do the right thing.
Right.
I think he struggles with that a lot of doing the right thing.
John, what do you think, buddy? I'm a little torn between this right now, to be honest.
I think I agree with you in what you're saying, how it was a way to kind of deflate the Patriots, how good they were.
Their own Deflategate?
Yeah, it's just, you look at it, certain things, like you talk about the like even in the NBA, when you talk about certain things that go on, certain trades that get blocked. You talked about Chris Paul playing with Kobe Bryant a couple years ago. That's what reminds me of that. That was shut down because they didn't.
Deadly.
And that was the higher ups shutting that down because they thought that would be a good team. But look at it now. We see super teams now. So
at the end of the day, it doesn't tarnish Brady's legacy, but there are always the people that consider asterisks beside Brady's lovely little run of 7 Super Bowls. My opinion is always the same thing, that usually I err on the side that the Patriots cheat sometimes, but this time I'm actually on the Patriots side, and I'm on Brady's side. I think that if this is true, that this general counsel Jeff Pash expunged these numbers and expunged the proof, then if you're the NFL, not only do you fire that guy, you fire Goodell. Mm-hmm. Because Goodell had final say on everything. Yeah. So at this point, you're considering firing these guys. Moving on from that, though, Brian Flores, we've talked a little bit about this. There's not a lot of information that's come out about this lawsuit that's happening, everything like that. The Broncos came out and said that what was stated was false. Miami's come out and said it's false. The Giants have come out and said that they did their due diligence, that the statements are coming out false. So obviously they're declining it. We've seen a trend in the NFL where NFL head coaches are not usually of a certain culture, as I'll put it, as a PC way of being hired. And Flores, the rumor was that Flores would stop that altogether. But we saw Lovie Smith go to the Houston Texans, and then we've got this Miami guy coming in. Don't get me started on that. Yeah. And looking at the NFL coaching jobs, the only head coaching job that's available right now is the Vikings. So my wonder is, does Flores get that job now that Jim Harbaugh has stated that he's not coming to the Vikings? Has he got a chance? Do you think he's got a chance at all to come back to the NFL?
I think the only chance that he has is if the Vikings are trying to make a PR move in this situation. You know what I'm saying? I think that the NFL in a whole might be saying, all right, Vikings, like let's hold off for a little bit so that if this whole thing goes on, water under the bridge or whatnot,
right.
We can place you in that position to make it look like we've smoothed things over. Because you know how the NFL likes to smooth things over. I mean, they're pretty much pros at that at this point. Yeah,
he throws money at it. What do you think? It's a weird topic, I know, and they're in so many scandals right now that I'm trying so hard not to bash the NFL because of what's happening in the league with the Deflategate stuff now coming out, and then this happening with Brian Flores. Yeah, it's fixed to be time. Goodell's
sadly, the one I look at it, I think Flores is done. Yeah. I don't think he'll ever touch an NFL field again.
And I think he admitted that when he released the lawsuit. He said, "Hey, I've been given a gift to coach football, and I may never coach again in this league." He may get a college job.
Yeah,
you never know.
I would love to see him. Maybe even
or a coordinator job. He might get a coordinator job. If he gets a coordinator job, then he'll work his way back up.
Mm-hmm.
Lovie Smith was originally banned from coaching again because he did so bad with Tampa, and not bad with Tampa. He did okay with Tampa, but he did bad with the Bears.
I remember seeing a rumor. People were talking about give Deion Sanders a Cowboys coaching job, which obviously. I wouldn't do that right now.
I would love time to be a coach.
I would love to see, Deion maybe potentially becoming an NFL coach. And maybe, like I said, with what Flores did, maybe it can pave the way for more black coaches in the NFL.
There was a general manager hiring for Dick Cass, I think is his name. I'm not sure if that was the one that stepped away. As the Baltimore Ravens fan, I should know this. But the Ravens did just promote a new president for their organization. So that was cool. And then you don't see a lot of people of color for that one as well.
Louis Riddick. I believe that's his name, the analyst
Yeah,
on
yeah,
ESPN.
yeah.
I saw he's getting some attention for a GM job, I believe.
He should
I forgot
get a
what
GM
team it
job.
was.
He's great, man. He
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about too. Like he's one of the guys for announcing wise that when you listen to him, he actually brings up stats, he brings up player mentality, he brings up all that type of stuff, and not many people do that. So somebody like that as a GM would be great.
Yeah.
But now I quickly want to talk. The Texans hired Lovie Smith, former head coach of Tampa Bay and Chicago. Finns hired Mike McDaniel. I don't think that's a good hire at all. That's the former OC for the 49ers. Don't get me started on that one. And the Saints promoted DC Dennis Allen. Bad promotion. If you're a New Orleans Saints fan, you should be upset that you promoted your defensive coordinator. You didn't do good in defense this year. He's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's probably going to be a great coach. I still think it's bad. I still think you should have hired somebody else, personally. Real quick, the Pro Bowl was awful. I think that it needs to change. I don't know what you guys think. I watched it. I mean, it was awful.
I just think I don't know at this point how you can change it, because the Pro Bowl, you have other things than just that game. You've got the Thursday night where you've got dodgeball, you've got fastest man, you've got all that. So I just don't know how you're gonna. I think you can keep that, but I mean, we were even bringing up something. This is far fetched, but have the Jaguars and have the Lions play for the first pick. That's
number one and number two.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally so far off in what the NFL is going to do.
Right.
But it's just there's got to be something that they can change to make it more watchable, because that was pretty bad.
It was bad, and I didn't enjoy it. And even when it comes to the fun stuff they try to do, you look at the fastest man challenge. Tyreek Hill didn't even try. So it's like
he jogged the second half of that freaking 40-yard dash.
They said that he slipped off the start. They tried to cover it up, but that dude just came off.
I watched him take off that lock. Yeah, he didn't hit those blocks like he usually does. No way.
But looking at it, I mean, personally as an NBA fan, I thought the NBA All-Star game was rough, but now look at the Pro Bowl, I'm like, when you look at it though, NBA, I mean, it's high action. We get a whole bunch of cool slam dunks, we get half-court shots. So maybe try to incorporate that in the Pro Bowl. Maybe try to go for some one-on-one Hail Mary situation. I
think that's the skills test that's coming through. But at the same time, and I watched former players go online and to Twitter and all that and talk about this. And the biggest thing that came out was that they just don't look like they're trying anymore.
Right.
And that's true. And the players that are in the league now stated, well, it's because we have X amount of time to rehab, and these guys don't want to do that. That can't be an excuse. That can't be, because it wasn't an excuse for the 90s versions. It wasn't an excuse for the early 2000s version. It's only been from 2010 to now that the Pro Bowl's kind of just been like, just bad. It's been awful. So I don't expect anything like that anymore. But real quick, moving into Super Bowl week, we got about 5 minutes to go through this from what I'm seeing. So we're gonna go through it pretty quickly. Just stats. As you guys know, it's the Bengals and the Rams. We talked a little bit about this already. We said we were going to do a deep dive in here. The offense ranks 8th in points per game for the Bengals. They're 14th in yards per game with 357. They're 12th on third down conversions, and they're second highest completion percentage in the league. They do not generate a lot of penalties on the offense, ranking among the top 3 teams in the league in that stat, offensively for the Bengals. That's great. It's great to see. Defensively, they rank 14th in takeaways and have a top 5 rushing defense. They rank well in points per game allowed at 13, only allowing 21.8 points per game. They allow an average of 353 yards per game, though, to the opposing passer. However, the defense is good against the rush. So the Bengals come in having a pretty good rush game. But the Rams don't run the ball.
They don't.
And I want to talk about that first. They just talked about how they were top 3 as far as their offensive and, not getting penalties. It's going to be some holding calls against this defensive line for the Rams. So
For sure. You're not going to hold on to Aaron Donald very, very long. You're going to have to hold him because you're not going to keep him in front of you very long. And looking at the Rams real quick to bring those stats in, the Rams offensively are 6 points per game. So they rank higher in points per game than the Bengals do. They're 5th in third down conversions. They're 17th in red zone scoring. The Bengals were not 17th in red zone scoring. They're very low in the rushing offense. They rank top 5 in defense against the rush, and they're top 10 against the pass. So they're great in terms of defensively against the pass. You expect that from the Rams with all the big name guys on that team. The Rams come in as a 4.5-point favorite according to CBS, and they think it'll be a shootout with a combined of 48.5 points, and that's coming in the fourth quarter. They don't think it's going to be great for the first 3. I've got Stafford with 67.2% completion rating, 4,000 yards or 48,000 yards, 41 TDs, 17 interceptions, 102.9 rating. Burrow's at 70.4, 4,600 yards with a 108 rating. Quarterback-wise, Stafford looks better on paper when it comes to yards and touchdowns, but worse when it comes to QBR. Burrow's the better quarterback coming in. Kupp's the better receiver coming in. I don't care about Jamar Chase. Cup's the better receiver coming in. He's
Yeah.
a Triple Crown winner, man. You can't discredit that man.
Nah, I mean,
and if Eli Apple just lines up across Cup, I hope Cup just kills him.
Have mercy on his soul.
Oh,
I'll
God.
tell you what.
It's going to be bad. Rams are the 5th time, by the way, coming to the Super Bowl. Last time was in 2018. We talked about that last week. Bengals 3rd time. First time since 1988. Wow. The last Rams QB win the last time the Rams won the Super Bowl was in 1999 against the Tennessee Titans. So that was great. And the first time that both teams have had a number 1 drafted QB playing in the Super Bowl. And we have the youngest head coaches in Super Bowl history with McVay at 36 and Taylor, who used to work for McVay at 38. And the Bengals are official home team in the Rams Stadium. That's all I've got there. Let's talk, guys. We got about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get my prediction out of the way, and then we'll go through. I think the Rams are winning by 7. I really do. I think it's a good game, but I think in the last 2 minutes, Stafford marches down the field. Cup and Odell Beckham Jr. just go off, and it's a 7-point game. And then the Bengals just can't Hail Mary their way out of it. Yeah. That's my thought. I think the Bengals are going to play a great game. I've got it 28-21. That's what I've got. And I think that's a reasonable score for this game. But I'm going to let you guys go for that one.
Go ahead.
I want you to go ahead, Jamar. I got something kicking over here, man.
Okay, man, it's tough because, you look at the matchups, you look at certain situations. Obviously, Rams have so much offensive firepower. But I think the Rams, I don't want to pick who wins, but I know as an analyst, I should.
Yeah, you got to do it.
I want to say the Rams are going to pull it out, like you said. Okay. But
I thought you were going to go against me. It's hard to bet against Burrow, I know, because he looks so good. Like, on paper, these guys, I'm giving it to you, Cincy. On paper, you guys look great.
The Rams are going to win. But Cooper Kupp's not going to play as good as you think. I think it's going to be somebody else that shows up.
I think Odell shows up. Yeah. I think it's Odell and Higbee. I think that's who.
That'd be a good storyline. Odell playing good in the Super Bowl.
And see, I want to say something is I think that Eli Apple's not going to line up with Cooper Kupp. It's going to be Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton from the Steelers, who had such a great season last year for him.
Great impress coverage, but cannot maintain. You're going to have a safety.
I mean,
he can't maintain the speed.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the league. I don't think anybody in the league can stick with Cooper Kupp for 60 minutes. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, but he's on the same team.
The other guy on the other side, Jalen Ramsey, but that's about it, man.
No, that's it.
I think that's the matchup you're going to see with Jamar Chase. I think Ramsey is going to pull Jamar Chase off the field. I mean, it should be. That should be how it goes. If you're the Rams, that's what you do. You put Weddle and Ramsey on Jamar, and you say, okay, that's it. Nobody else touch him. Nobody will do anything else.
Right.
So. But what do you got? What do you think the score is going to be? What's your prediction?
So I've got a couple things for you. The betting line for FanDuel is Rams -4.5 right now. It's gone up. It was at -4.
Yep.
The Bengals are 13-7 against the spread this season, undefeated in the playoffs this year. They're 3-0 in the playoffs against the spread. Personally, I mean, I can't bet, but I'm a huge spread guy. I think that Vegas does a good job of finding the team that should win and give them a good line there, but. Guys, I'm tired of betting against Joe Burrow. I said it last time, and I said it again. Beat the Titans, beat the Chiefs.
So what's the score? I gotta ask, what's the score? Because the Rams did the same thing. They beat the top 2 teams to get in. They also beat the defending champs or not defending champs, right? Because Tampa Bay didn't win it last year, right?
No, Tampa Bay did.
They
did.
Yeah, so no, my fault. Look, I can't even get my years right.
No, I think it's 24-21. 3 seconds left. Evan McPherson, big leg of McPherson, 40-yard field goal, puts it through, and since he goes home happy.
I don't know. A lot to look at forward to this game. We will do a quick review on that Super Bowl. Jamar, you got
really fast. We're talking about all this. If this is like a 10-3 game or like a low-scoring game, I'll be very disappointed because we're all talking about this being a gunfight, 20 something. If this is
really
a low-scoring game, I'm gonna be pretty sick.
20 points isn't a gunfight in the NFL anymore.
You
know what I mean?
Honestly,
it's more of a bat fight at that point.
Honestly,
If we're getting a gunfight and a gunslinging, which might happen with Stafford and Burrow, then it could be 45 to 40, 41 or something.
If there's one thing I can give people out there, like bettors wise, take the under.
Yeah.
Please take the under. 48.5 is way too high.
I think they'll meet 48.5.
You think so?
I really do think they'll meet that spread.
I don't know.
For sure.
I don't know.
All right. So with that being said, like I said, I got the Rams. You said you got the Rams, Jamar. You got the Bengals,
I got the Bengals.
Reese? All right, so we got a 2-1 there. So next week we'll definitely go over and we'll cover what we saw for that. I'm ready for the halftime show to see Dr. Dre and Eminem because people are about to learn who their parents are really quickly and then learn who I am really quickly too at that point. But guys, I want to thank you so much for spending time this week with me on Crunch Time. We will see all of you guys next week.